Well, the heat is on and it's here to stay for a little, maybe even long while. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast. It's, well, hot and dry today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, probably Saturday, and then by Sunday, while it's still mainly hot and dry, then next week things start to get a little bit better. But I'll get more detailed than that. I think the takeaway, though, you just saw it. It's going to be hot and dry for the foreseeable future. Eastern Plains already up into the upper 80s and low 90s as of noon, and the mountains 70s and 80s for most areas out that way. Last 24 hours, we've seen a gradual spike in temperatures, just a bit more sunshine out there and less moisture at the ground. That is allowing things to warm more efficiently. And the result, those temperatures that are going to spike on up to about 95 degrees for us here in Denver this afternoon. That is about 5 degrees above the average for the first week, or I should say now the second week of the month of August. And by the way, there's that sunrise 6:05 a.m. on Thursday. That'll be our final 8 p.m. sunset of the year. So enjoy those 8 p.m. sunsets while we've got them. Meantime, mostly sunny, isolated, very, very isolated storm south and east of town. First things first, though, those temperatures, that'll probably be your main takeaway today, is it's going to be so darn hot out there. Once again, had that kind of brief breather from all that heat back over the weekend. Now we're, well, sticking around in the low to mid 90s here on the Eastern Plains. I've mentioned most of us about 5 degrees above average. Mountains, generally speaking, about 70s into the 70s and the 80s, 96 though for our friends out in Grand Junction on the western slope. A little bit of cloud cover for us. It's not going to give way to a whole lot. It's very dry aloft, mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. Much drier. At the surface, we still have a little bit of that cloud cover, but again, aloft, it's way drier, and that's really where it counts here, folks. The result means we're talking about maybe one or two very hit or miss showers and storms in far southern Colorado. I think I-70 on north, just about everybody is going to be dry this afternoon, and it's going to stay that way for the foreseeable future, as I mentioned. Now, as we get into your day tomorrow, about the same as today. One thing to note for tomorrow's forecast is notice that wind, 10 to 20 miles an hour. So the wind may be a bit more breezy at times compared to today. I think the wind's fairly light out there for your day today, but tomorrow a bit more breezy. I wouldn't call it windy, just again maybe a bit more noticeable. Meantime, I think really everybody from I-25 on east for your day tomorrow, we're going to be bone dry. It's when you get into the southwestern reaches of Colorado, so the San Juans, maybe even east into the Sangre de Cristo, the West Elk, so Crested Butte, Gunnison on west. That's where you could see one or two showers and storms pop on up. Basically everybody else, though, we are bone dry once again as we get into your Wednesday, and those temperatures will reflect that very dry air mass. Most of us here into the low to mid 90s on the Eastern Plains. Few of us maybe stuck in the upper 80s, but most of us again into the 90s, mountains 70s and 80s. And look at that in Grand Junction. 99 degrees, could be flirting with triple-digit heat once again out there on the western slope. And by the way, that's a sign of what's to come. Think this big, dominating ridge high pressure. This has been our pattern basically all summer long here, folks. We've been talking about this persistent ridge of high pressure that's been anchored over Colorado in the southwestern United States. And once that kind of gradually budges back over to the east, that'll lead to some even hotter temperatures by the end of the week. We'll be consistently 90, even 95 plus all week long. But then by the time we get into your Friday, look at this. We'll be at 97 degrees, flirting with triple digits and a daily record. So again, you get the idea. Hot and dry, hot and dry, hot and dry until the weekend and early next week, when finally the monsoon will come to our rescue in the form of some showers and some storms, and much cooler temperatures by next Monday and Tuesday. By the way, you notice these cooler temperatures. This is actually seasonable for this time of year. We're normally mid to upper 80s, 87, 88 this time of year. So when we're talking about highs cooling down into the upper 80s, that's where we should be for this time of year. But the rest of the week, it's going to be much hotter than average. And this continues what's been an exceptionally hot summer for us here in Denver along the Front Range. Our average temperatures so far this summer, this averages our daily highs and our daily low temperatures. Well, our average temperature here in Denver about 75 degrees, specifically 74.8 degrees. That makes it our second warmest summer to date on record here in Denver, and most of the state in the top 5 threshold of warmest summers on record. So the hot summer that we've had, it continues for the rest of the week before some relief for the early part of next week. Thanks for joining us and have a great rest of your Tuesday.